please offer your attention and a warm welcome to the Vice President of Government and International Affairs for the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, C. Leroy Cavazos.
Buenas tardes, USHCC familia. Bienvenidos to this luncheon, Lowering Carbon for the Future. It's so good to see everyone here today so engaged in helping evolve the mission of an American institution that fights every day to defend, sustain, and further evolve procurement opportunities for more than 5 million Hispanic businesses and 260 Hispanic chambers across America. You are all a part of our family, of our mission, and for that, all of you deserve recognition and a round of applause. We have been so fortunate to enjoy good weather here in New Mexico. Like I said yesterday, Ramiro made a call to Mother Nature and she complied. And we're just so excited that we've been able to have dynamic and robust discussions to ensure that our environmental protection, that the innovation that comes from clean energy, and that policy intersects with the advocacy that each of us have in our hands for a better and cleaner energy future. It also cannot go without saying that all of us have a participatory role in the future that energy plays in our communities, not only in big cities, but also in rural America. We also need to be architects of our power. We need to continue to talk to lawmakers. We need to continue to bring businesses to the procurement tables of corporate America. And we need to demand that corporate America make their boardrooms and their C-suites look like us, look Hispanic. So without further ado, today it's going to be a privilege to hear from some very dynamic speakers. I would like to personally welcome today's luncheon speakers, especially Commissioner Covos with the Public Utility Commission of Texas, and my good friend, the President of the Texas Oil and Gas Association, Todd Staples. Thank you all for coming from Texas to have this dynamic discussion today in the great state of New Mexico. We're very grateful for the time given to us by Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham and all of the support of the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Disfruten, buen provecho.
Thank you for your welcoming remarks, Mr. Cavazos. Now, joining us on the stage for sponsor remarks, representing our corporate co-chair, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of PNM, Mr. Don Terry.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here today to join thought leaders from across the country as we talk about the state of energy. And it's an exciting time for the state of energy. I want to thank the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for holding the event in New Mexico, my hometown. And I'm grateful, not my hometown, but my home state, and I'm grateful for that. And Avangrid for co-sponsoring this event with PNM. This is a transformation time in the electric industry and the right time for a summit like this held in New Mexico. Over the last century, our lives have grown increasingly dependent upon electric generated by fossil fuels. One of the most rapid and significant transformations in our industry are happening right now as we transition to clean energy. In essence, our electric grid is changing from the equivalent, and you're going to like this, of a rotary phone, and for those that remember the rotary phone, to an iPhone in just a short period of time. Our industry today is driven by innovation with a commitment to reduce impact to the environment. Today, 44% of the U.S. Power generation comes from clean, carbon-free resources. And for PNM, we're not focused only on lowering carbon future, but also eliminating carbon from our future. Today, we meet long-term clean energy and climate goals, and I see three key objectives. First, we need policies that accelerate research, development, and deployment of new clean energy technologies and drive down the cost of these new technologies to make them accessible. Second, we need to modernize and enhance the energy grid to adopt these new technologies, maintain reliability of service to our customers, and improve grid resilience. And third, we need to leverage more and more zero carbon emitting resources to reduce emissions in other sectors of the economy. An overarching element of these objectives is the need for innovation and collaboration within our teams, our communities, our national labs, and with sustainable energy leaders like Avangrid. This is the key to achieving a carbon-free energy future that cares equally for the environment, our customers, and our community. Thanks again for the opportunity to share my perspective, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Commissioner Covos and Todd Staples this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. Now please welcome to the podium for featured remarks from the Public Utility Commission of Texas, Commissioner Laurie Covos.
Good afternoon. It is a pleasure and honor to be with you here today at the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Inaugural Energy Summit. With over 18 years of experience in the Texas electric power industry, it is a tremendous honor and privilege to have been appointed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott to the Public Utility Commission of Texas to serve at such an extraordinary time for the state of Texas. Texas is in a unique position. We have the 9th largest economy in the world, the fastest growing economy in the country. People and businesses are moving to Texas. We have a strong oil and gas industry, a strong industrial industry, and our appetite for electricity is increasing. Along with this blessing and growth come challenges and opportunities. Over the last year, we have taken a robust set of actions to address the issues that we faced during Winter Storm Uri to enhance the grid reliability and resiliency in our state. These actions have covered including bringing more power generation online earlier to meet electricity demand and extreme weather conditions, using an arsenal of tools to prevent emergency conditions, enforcing mandated weatherization requirements of power generation and transmission distribution for transmission companies, which come with a statutorily authorized hammer of administrative penalties of $1 million per violation per day. We have enhanced our electricity and gas coordination efforts through the creation of the Texas Electricity Reliability Council, which is comprised of key stake leaders and electricity and oil and gas stakeholders. We are evaluating market reforms that will ensure grid reliability and resiliency in the future. At the same time, the world and the country is undergoing an energy transition to lower carbon resources that is being driven by federal decarbonization goals and environmental regulations, the global financial investment community through ESG requirements that demand investments in clean energy solutions, corporate sustainability goals. Large commercial and industrial consumers are meeting their ESG requirements through clean energy solutions. There are tremendous technological innovations that are driving battery and distributed generation investment. And in Texas, we are tackling the same issues that the rest of the world and other U.S. markets are facing, only in a Texas-sized manner. We are number 1 in the United States and number 5 in the country for installed wind generation capacity. Currently, we have over 35,000 megawatts of wind on our system, and by the end of 2024, we will reach nearly 45,000 megawatts. We are number 2 in the country in solar. We have 11,000 megawatts on our system right now, and by the end of 2024, we will more than triple the amount to about 37,000 megawatts on our system. We have around 2,000 megawatts of batteries on our system, and by the end of 2024, we'll have approximately 7,000. When you combine the wind, solar, and battery on our system today, we are number 1 in the country with nearly 50,000 megawatts on our system. Importantly, we also have over 70,000 megawatts of dispatchable thermal generation resources. So what are the solutions and impacts as we manage this transition into the lower carbon future that we are facing? We are looking at solutions and products to drive investment in fast responding gas generation plants that can respond within minutes to balance the variability in wind and solar on our system. The wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine. And these are important resources, but we must have fast responding gas generation resources to balance out the system. We are looking at solutions and actions to drive investment in power plants that are available 24/7 to meet our growing electricity demand and extreme weather conditions. We are also looking at ways to capitalize on batteries, distributed generation, and demand response solutions. So as we look to manage this transition into this lower carbon future, we are looking for modern day solutions to tackle modern day challenges. Thank you very much.
Here to deliver a brief message from our generous corporate sponsor, Vice President of Emerging Technologies at Emera, Mr. Gary Opedal.
You know, I could come up here and reiterate about distributed storage and innovation and speed and all of those things, but I really appreciate the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce bringing everyone together for conversation. I want to echo what my friend Dr. Richard Laurie said earlier. You know, we seem to kind of get in our corners sometimes and say, I've got the answer, and maybe other people don't. And I think today, and some of the conversations that we've had here, and some of the ones that I've been honored and enjoyed having, is that this problem is big enough for all of us to work together and to share our thoughts, realizing that each one of us doesn't know what we don't know, and bring ourselves together to solve the problem as a community with diverse thoughts that aren't always the same, but that can add together and really get to where we need to go. Because if we're going to spend energy fighting, that's not energy we can do towards a solution. So thank you.
Joining us on stage to introduce our next dynamic keynote speaker is proud USHCC board member, Ms. Betty Manetta.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Todd Staples, I'm sorry. Todd Staples was named president of the Texas Oil and Gas Association, or known as TXOGA, in November of 2014. Founded in 1990, Texas OGA is the oldest and largest oil and gas trade association in Texas, representing every facet of the industry. In order to continue to a positive jobs and growth environment that oil and natural gas provides in Texas, Texas OGA must be a modern-day voice for the industry. Okay. Is that right? Okay. Working with Texas OGA Board, Staples developed and implemented a multiple-faceted approach to educate voters and elected officials on the industry's contributions to the state to ensure pro-energy policy decisions based on economic and scientific facts. This approach includes bipartisan efforts to support passage of landmark legislation that provides cities with authority to reasonably regulate surface activity while affirming the regulation and natural productions, which is under the exclusive jurisdiction of the state and board coalitions to ensure infrastructure needs of the state are met. Prior to Texas OGA, Staples served as the Texas Agriculture Commissioner, winning 2 statewide elections. He also served with distinction in the Texas Senate and Texas House of Representatives. After graduating with honors from Texas A&M University, Staples began his career on the Palestine City Council, where he was a successful small businessman and rancher. A proud family man, Todd and his wife Janet split time between Austin and Palestine. Please help me welcome Todd Staples.
Thank you so very much, Betty. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here with you in the land of enchantment today. It is an honor to be with the U.S. Hispanic Chamber and Gas Romero and your team that's put this together and the sponsors that's made it possible. And I must say, I am from Palestine, not Palestine. Palestine is a little farther to the east than Palestine, so I want to make certain, Betty, that we get that cleared up on the record so I can go back home to East Texas. Although I do spend a lot of time in Austin today. I'm excited to be here at the inaugural Energy Summit. Let's think about this. Today is Earth Day, right? What a great day to have an Energy Summit as we focus on the future of our planet. In fact, the slogan for Earth Day is Invest in Our Planet. And I'm proud to report that a tremendous amount is being invested in research, in development, in innovative solutions, and pioneering technologies in order to solve the challenges of our day, and that oil and natural gas is the leading investor in this space. And I want to have a conversation today about how we can work together. And I think about New Mexico and Texas, and I thought that both states are actually leading the way in developing energy solutions for our country and our world. And there are many things that New Mexico and Texas have in common. And I wanted to share a few of those with you today. We both share the Rio Grande River. We share the Permian Basin. Both states are the top 2 crude oil producing states in the nation. Oil and natural gas in both states are the biggest funders of our roads, of our schools, of our universities. Each state recently created a produced water consortium to focus on the beneficial uses of produced water. It was pointed out that Representative Small from New Mexico was here earlier today. I don't know if you're here now as an author of that legislation. Congratulations. Both states are achieving and working toward reducing methane emissions and ending routine flaring. And a fact you may not be aware of, but I can attest as the former Texas Agriculture Commissioner that both New Mexico and Texas are among the nation's top pecan producers. How about that? And I want to tell you that they're the best pecans anywhere in the world, as a matter of fact. We'll go on record as saying that. Texans don't get accused of telling tall tales, do we? I want to tell you there was one former governor of Texas that was so proud of our state. He was giving a speech one night. He got a little bit carried away. He pounded on the podium, and he included George Washington in the Lone Star State's roster of heroes. The way he told this story, he said young George went outside, took his machete in hand, and chopped down his father's mesquite tree. Well, learning of this, Mr. Washington, the elder, called him inside and said, "Son, did you chop down my mesquite tree?" We all know what he said. "Father, I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down your mesquite tree." Well, his dad looked at him square in the eyes and said, "Son, pack your bags. We're moving to Virginia." Young George said, "Well, why, Father? Is it because I chopped down your mesquite tree?" And he said, "No, son, it's because if you can't tell a lie, you'll never amount to anything in Texas." We like to tell tall tales a little bit. We like to say big things about baseball and football and all the kind of things that we all love to sit around the coffee table or the beverage table in the evening and talk about. I'm here to tell you when it comes to defining energy, it is not stretching the truth one bit to say that oil and natural gas are literally indispensable to powering modern life and improving the conditions in which we live. When you consider that 96% of the products that we use every day, from makeups to medicines, from toothpaste, yes, toothpaste, to tires, and from wind turbines to solar panels, all have a component of oil and natural gas, it is extremely legitimate to say that oil and natural gas are irreplaceable in our lives today. And I'm very glad to report that our industry in both New Mexico and Texas are focused on how to deliver oil and natural gas in cleaner and better and stronger ways. To start out with, I would like for us today just to frame our energy needs. Today's world population is estimated to be between 7 and 7.5 billion people. Now, I'm not sure who counts those folks, and I don't want their job, but that's the reality of the size of the world that we live in today, and it is anticipated that by the year 2050, we will have between 9 and 10 billion people on this planet. Now, let me ask you what you think is realistic. That the world will need less energy by 2050, or will we need more? Considering that every item we use today in our lives consumes more and more energy, and that the world's population is expanding, I think the easy conclusion is that we're going to need more forms of energy to meet the needs of people on this planet. The U.S. Energy Information Administration, EIA, projects nearly a 50% increase in world energy consumption and use by the year 2050. And if you look at the power sources where our energy comes from today, the EIA puts them in 5 major categories: nuclear, coal, natural gas, petroleum and other liquids, and then renewables. Today, renewables provide about 12% of our nation's energy, and oil and natural gas comprise about 68%, while coal and nuclear are about 20%. By 2050, renewables are projected to be about 28%, more than doubling, and oil and natural gas is expected to remain at about 68% of the total energy mix. But the thing is this: our energy use is going to grow by 50%. That means those numbers are much bigger than the percentages that they are today of all forms of energy. Those of us in oil and natural gas are some of the biggest investors in renewable energy sources today, and we welcome this energy mix. But we know that we're going to need more energy, not less. So we have to stop and ask ourselves, and as chambers of commerce in Santa Fe, Albuquerque, that's partnering with you today, Ramiro, and I saw El Paso represented here today, and Corpus Christi, and a lot of friends that I have back home. We have to ask ourselves, what does this mean for the American consumer, that more energy sources are going to be needed? Ladies and gentlemen, unless we have a realistic energy plan for America, I think it means more volatility and higher prices. That's what we're looking at today if we don't have a realistic energy plan for America. The tragic circumstances of the energy crisis in Europe should be more than a wake-up call on the importance of a steady, stable, reliable, dependable, and diverse energy mix. But it has to be done the right way. Unfortunately, for Germany, their attempt to change their energy mix in a more rapid manner than was feasible, and the world circumstances that they're facing today has put them in a dangerous position. You know, a year ago, people were wondering if oil and gas had a future. Today, people around the globe are wondering if they have a future without oil and natural gas. We have a historic opportunity to reset the